I want you to cause me pain.
I know something about you, or maybe someone you know. You've probably noticed it before, that strange comfort some people seem to take in their own suffering. You've seen it online, in relationships, even at work, people holding on to misery like it's a security blanket. And you've probably asked yourself, why would anyone do that? Why would someone choose to feel unhappy? Today, I'm going to tell you something that will sound counterintuitive. There is a hidden reason behind this behavior, rooted not in weakness, but in psychology, biology, and even evolutionary survival. And once you understand it, you might start seeing misery not as a mistake, but a signal, a deeply human one. Let's start with a simple metaphor. Think of the human mind as a thermostat. Most people are like standard thermostats. They measure the temperature, respond, and maintain equilibrium. But some people are hypersensitive thermostats. Their minds don't just measure, they anticipate, they dwell, they overanalyze every fluctuation. Pain, discomfort, disappointment, failure, these aren't just experiences. They are signals, warnings, and strangely enough, a source of stability. So why would someone choose misery? Part of it is familiarity. Psychologists call this the familiarity bias. Our brains are wired to seek comfort in patterns, even if those patterns are negative. If misery has been a constant companion, maybe from childhood experiences, maybe from repeated failures, then it becomes predictable. And predictability, even if it's painful, feels safe, because unpredictability, even happiness, can be scary. Next comes a concept called identity anchoring. Some people anchor their sense of self to their struggles. I am the person who always fights against life's unfairness, they tell themselves. Pain becomes proof of existence. Misery becomes a badge of authenticity. And here's the kicker. If happiness arrives too quickly or too easily, it threatens that identity. Suddenly, they're not the person they've been building themselves around for years. Their brain resists that change instinctively. Now let's talk about another layer, one that is far less obvious: neurochemical reward loops. You've probably heard that your brain releases chemicals like dopamine and endorphins during pleasure. But here's the surprising part. Your brain can also create chemical patterns in response to suffering. Anxiety, sadness, even regret can trigger predictable neurochemical reactions. Some people's brains become addicted to this consistency. Not pleasure, but the predictability of their emotional state feels rewarding. Think of it like comfort food, but for the brain. It's messy, counterintuitive, and completely human. There's also an evolutionary angle. Ancient humans survived by recognizing threats, anticipating danger, and preparing for worst-case scenarios. Some of us inherited minds that are naturally cautious, sensitive, and even a little pessimistic. When life is perfect or easy, those instincts have no outlet. The brain craves a problem to solve, a challenge to anticipate. Misery, struggle, and conflict become the mental exercises these brains need to feel alive. But there's more. This behavior is often tied to social signaling. Misery can serve as a subtle form of communication. Consider someone who shares their struggles online or with friends. Their pain signals depth, resilience, or moral seriousness. They are saying, "Look at what I endure. Look at how much I care." And in return, they receive validation, empathy, and attention. In a strange way, misery becomes a currency, a socially reinforced habit. Now you might be thinking, this sounds depressing. Why wouldn't they just choose happiness? And here's the heart of it. It's not always about enjoying misery in the way we think. It's about control, identity, and predictability. Misery gives the brain a framework. Happiness, excitement, or freedom can feel chaotic, risky, even meaningless. Misery is like the shore that prevents the mind from drifting too far into the unknown. There's also a psychological term called secondary gain. This is when the negative experience itself creates an indirect benefit. Maybe a person avoids responsibilities because misery gives them an excuse. Maybe they keep relationships shallow because pain keeps them protected. Or maybe they get to feel morally superior, self-reflective, or deep because of their suffering.
These hidden benefits make misery sticky. It becomes not just a habit, but a self-reinforcing loop. But here's the liberating part.
Understanding this doesn't mean you have to remain trapped in it. Awareness is the first step toward choice. Once you recognize the pull of familiarity, identity, neurochemical loops, and secondary gains, you gain the power to redirect them. You can reframe experiences, cultivate new patterns, and even train your brain to find comfort in joy rather than chaos or pain. Here's a metaphor to make it concrete. Imagine your emotional life as a garden. Misery is like a plant that has grown wild over years. Its roots are deep, tangled, and familiar. You can't just rip it out overnight, but you can plant new seeds alongside it. Seeds of curiosity, gratitude, connection, and play. Over time, the new plants grow strong, and the wild roots no longer dominate the landscape. You're not erasing the past, you're enriching the soil for a richer future. So if you notice someone, or even yourself, holding on to misery, don't immediately judge it. It's not weakness, stupidity, or masochism. It's a sophisticated coping mechanism, a brain pattern forged by biology, experience, and survival instincts. And once you understand it, you can begin to make choices that honor the past while opening a path toward growth, joy, and freedom. The next time someone wonders why they or you cling to suffering, remember this: misery isn't always a mistake. Sometimes it's a misunderstood strategy, and with awareness, intention, and care, it can be transformed into something far richer than avoidance, guilt, or regret. If you want to understand more about how to break free from this cycle and retrain your brain to thrive, click the video right here. I'll guide you through the neuroscience, practical exercises, and mindset shifts that can turn habitual misery into conscious, empowered choice. You won't just survive, you'll finally understand why your brain has been doing what it does and how to take control of your emotional life. This is Eam vs. Anime, Psychology Series. Like and subscribe for more.